So I've come out to the garden for this one because there really is no substitute for natural light for showing you some of these effects that I want to talk about today. About this glaze called Stoned Denim. Hello, Daisy. Hi, Daisy. You okay? You're up a tree, mate. What are you doing up there? Okay, so Daisy's going to talk to me while I do this from up a tree, apparently, which is fine. So Stoned Denim is a glaze that I've had since the very start. So I've had it for about 5 years now. And it's a nice glaze in its own right. And I think however it turns out, for a lot of people that you get out there on the forums talking about glazes, it's a lot of people's favourite or one of their favourites. And I know why, I get it. But what I tend to find is a bit of an issue is, and I'll put something up on screen to show this, is what we tend to get here in our studio with our clay and our firing conditions is not what it looks like on the label. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about what we can do. Here are my examples here that I'm going to talk you through to show you what I can do with this glaze by adding one coat of something different over the top of it to push it towards getting some different effects. Now, before we get into that, I should probably talk a little bit about the things that you typically see mentioned as ways of shifting Stoned Denim in a particular direction. And the thing that seems to come up quite a lot on Facebook particularly is that people think that you should fire it cooler, I think tends to be the way. It's amazing. For as many people who say things should be fired cooler, you tend to get as many that say they should be fired hotter. But I think most people tend to say that this one should be fired cooler. So here I've got two swatches side by side that I'm going to show you. And here they are. Okay, so which one's which? That's the top shelf one. And that is the bottom shelf one. So the reason for that comparison is that you can generally say that the bottom of my kiln is going to be about a half to a quarter of a cone cooler than the top of the kiln normally. It's a fair sized kiln and it doesn't make a massive difference, but you definitely do get a little bit of variation. So I'm just checking on the cat. So those are those two. And I didn't feel, when you look at these, that one was particularly making a difference over the other. There's meowing taking place up there. I didn't feel like that was enough of a reason to change my firing schedule. And you know what, when this comes up a lot, I think you have to bear in mind, a lot of people reading these things don't have access to their firing schedule. They're using community kilns or borrowing a shelf in somebody else's. They're not people who can necessarily control the temperatures to that degree of precision. So even if that were the case, that a whole cone hotter or cooler was going to make a difference, it's not in the real world going to actually help people get the result that they want. Something else that comes up quite a lot is the thickness of application, which I'm using this tile here to demonstrate, and that absolutely does make a difference, as you would expect, and as with most of these things. So that's 1, 2 and 3 coats of Stoned Denim just by itself, looking rather fabulous. And this disaster zone over here, this is 1, 2 and 3 coats of Stoned Denim, but with a coat of iron wash underneath, because there are 1 or 2 of the glazes that I happen to know you can push blue by putting iron underneath them or using a more iron rich clay. So I felt fairly confident that that wasn't going to work in this case, but I thought I'd try it. So we can push it a more intense colour, and it's going to pull that colour more in texture. I think we know that. I really think that cat might be stuck. Are you stuck? Okay, well, I'll see you in a minute. She's my cat, by the way. It wasn't really getting the intense blue on the label. There's nothing about that that's reminding me of my trousers for a glaze that's called Stoned Denim. So I didn't feel very convinced about that. So then I moved on to looking at what else we could put with this that potentially is going to shift the colour in different directions. And I've done a couple of rounds of testing. I was intending to do more, but as you can see from this disaster zone over here, my firing armature that I was using to fire these on completely collapsed in the kiln. I'm not normally such an enormous clown, but that did go really quite wrong this time for me. So I'll move on to those ones in a bit because they're sort of my second pass and there's a bit of a revelation in those. But I want to talk about some of these smaller ones first because there's some quite interesting results here. Let's gather together these ones that all look the same and talk about these, because what I did with these ones was that I put different washes and underglazes under them. That's bright blue underglaze. You can see it around the corner there, but you can't really see it coming through the glaze very much at all. And the same with some of these others. That's a black underglaze. I love the way that that's broken. It's absolutely delicious, but again, not denim. So that didn't really lead me anywhere. And then I moved on to the rest of these. These are considerably more interesting, some of these other ones. We've got some nice things going on here. Let's take you through them one by one, because you might just see something that grabs you that you think you want to replicate. So this one is, and all of these are the same, by the way, it's just 2 standard coats of stone denim and then 1 coat of something else over the top. Fired flat in the kiln like that. So that's going to increase the thickness because you've not got any gravity pulling it down. Everything that you're putting on is really staying in place and there's no texture on these ones. So what you see is really what you get. That is weathered blue and I absolutely love that. That's nice and dark and interesting, isn't it? That's great. This one, I already know what this is because somebody copied this one as soon as I got it out the kiln. This one is green jasper. So that's white opal, isn't it, as the base of that, which I don't own, but I do own the green jasper. And that's where these coppery, I assume, specks are coming through, which is nice. I've got to say, generally, as a channel, what I'm not after doing here is hacking these commercial glazes. I'm not suggesting people go away and reproduce them. I simply want to understand how they behave and give people of the type who come to my regular classes an idea of how they can get the best out of them. So I might comment from time to time in my very limited knowledge of glaze chemistry about what might be going on underneath in some of these recipes to cause certain colorants, but it's not a big focus for me. I might as well be talking about paints, really, and I'm quite happy to keep it that way for us. If you want to get into it, there are plenty of other ways you can do that. So moving on to the next one, we've got here Himalayan salt. I like Himalayan salt. But you've got a nice white float going on there and it's an interesting glaze. I like that one a lot. Then we've got light flux. 1 coat of light flux. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool, like that. That cat is still up that tree. This one, now I know what this is without even looking at it because it always does this white oil spot. Sorry, it always does this oil spot and it's called white gloss. Always get the same with that. It's quite cool though, quite like it. And then this one hasn't done quite what I would have expected. It's a different thing. I don't think it's right or wrong, I think it's just different. And that is micro pearl. So yeah, if that's what you want, that's what you can do. Next we've got Nimbus, and that's come out very Nimbusy indeed, and not very stone denim-y. Can I get it in focus? Here we go. Yeah. I mean, again, it's nice if that's what you want. So, you know, you go into it sort of expecting something in particular, don't you? Milk glass, that's the next one. I'm sorry, I'm very distracted by this cat up this tree. Good girl, you're not stuck. Right, so this one, milk glass. I'm not as big of a fan of that brown breaking thing we've got going on there. It's all right. It's all right, we can't complain. And here we've got Capri Blue. It's funny, isn't it? Because that one almost looks a bit more like the frost blue, but I promise you with my hand on my heart that I did do those the right way around, okay? This one is the Norse blue. So again, it's looking very Norse for just one coat, but it's giving you something quite interesting. This one, I know what this is without looking as well. In a sense, it's quite similar to the white gloss, isn't it? But actually this one is the aqua gloss. So perhaps chemically it's doing something quite similar, but you're getting the aqua breaking through rather than the white, which I quite like. The two quite cool effects side by side there, really, aren't they? They're quite good. I'm just jumping on the edit like an absolute clown to tell you that this mug that I had in shot the whole time that I intended to talk about is the aqua gloss combination. And I think it's interesting. It's quite earthy still. And hopefully, yeah, still quite true. It's just stone denim by itself on the inside, by the way. Pinholed slightly. I could refire it if I was worried about that. I think it's done something quite interesting and quite close to the label, really, with just one coat of something. So there's 3 coats of glaze in total on this. And some people who like to glaze their pots absolutely dripping in glaze will probably say, oh yeah, you can tell. But I don't like that look of things being absolutely saturated in 10 different glazes. I tend to like something that's a bit closer to what people think of as traditional studio ceramics in the UK, which is a little bit of a lighter touch. Maybe I'm being controversial again there, I don't know. But I don't want a boatload of glaze going on here. And you know what? I don't have time to apply a boatload of glaze going on here. So that is a real world large example of what you get with aqua gloss over stone denim. And I will send you back to the next glaze out in the garden. This one, again, this is another one that's very distinctive. So I can tell you that what that one is without looking underneath. That is alabaster, because you always get these little crystally bits forming in alabaster applications. I'm right. So that's quite nice. Next we have, no we don't, no, because those are the underglaze ones we've already done. So that is all of my first round of testing that I did there. And then I was going to do this huge big batch of hanging decorations for the wall, right? Or I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, then I don't just want like boxes of test tiles sat everywhere. I thought I want to make them into something quite interesting that I can use. Daisy, you can make it. Come on, darling. So I wanted to do something that was decorative or functional, but not just a box of test tiles that were going to sit okay. So that was when I came up with this design for these things. And I made, got 80 or 90 of them, I think. I made an absolute ton of these things. And all I needed then was a way to fire them in the kiln. They're only glazed on one side, but I did want them vertical. And obviously I've designed them with a hole in, thinking I could hang them. But the hanging structure that I use just completely died. I mean, it happens from time to time. So I wanted to crack on. So these are my sort of final selections that I took through to this final round of testing here. Hello, darling. Hi, Daisy. You made it. Come on. There's a good girl. There. Well done. Oh, you're warm. It's a lovely day today. Right. So let's talk about these final ones that I did. I've written on the back of them after the fact what they all are. That is the green jasper that we know about. If I get that out in the proper twinkly daylight on this side, let's see what we get. It's nicely runny. You can see where I had the disaster. I mean, it's nice, isn't it? If it's what you want. It's not the blue on the label, which was the brief, but it is a nice thing. And this is the stone denim just totally by itself. Look at that. What a clown. But yeah, doing very much what you'd expect stone denim to do. It's breaking over the texture. It's going slightly blue, but not jeans blue, not denim blue. The next thing that I tried was the aqua gloss. And with the aqua gloss, again, we've got that coming through. It's not done as much of the floaty thing as the little swatch. There, if I put those side by side, They are quite different for having the vertical surface with the texture on it. But I think it's quite a nice thing, really. And then the weathered blue, that has come out very blue, and I absolutely love how that's run down in that texture there. That is quite nice. I can see myself using that one again. That's quite good. Happy with that. I think that's one for the bank, that is. And then the next thing that I really want to show you, the thing out of everything that really surprised me here. Okay, so I'm holding these up to you, and the right hand one, as you look at them, is zinc-free clear, and the left hand one is just regular clear. So it's just one coat of the regular clear over the top, and that's the zinc-free, and that's done a lovely thing, hasn't it? And that is probably the closest to what I wanted to achieve this whole time, which I thought was quite interesting, because I have another glaze that's true of, which is Blue Surf. And again, I do not want to get into hacking the chemistry. I don't know why this would be the case, but I do tend to find that with Blue Surf, if it's going a little bit green and you want to push it bluer, you can just put a coat of clear over the top of it and it'll do what you want it to do. And I don't think another layer of Blue Surf would do quite the same thing. I'm leaning down out of the sun now. If I put a layer of clear over, I can have a bit more confidence that it's not going to be as runny, and it'll achieve what I want to achieve. And it seems to be that that's the case with the Stoned Denim as well. We just put a coat of clear over. I wonder what else we can put a coat of clear over that's going to get us some interesting results. I think that's potentially quite an interesting question. There's a glaze I have in mind next that I want to look at, which is called Raspberry Mist, which is supposed to be this unctuous hot pink with a slight white float to it. And it never quite comes out the texture or the colour that we really would like it to. So I'm going to go and experiment with that one next, I think. And the very first thing I will try with it is putting a layer of clear over the top and seeing what we get. So stay tuned for that one. I don't think it'll be my next video, but it'll be my next big project experiment. And I'll come back and show you what results I get. So thank you for watching, especially watching all the way to the end. And I will see you in the next one.